Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss different types of hazards that occur in pipelining. In the last lecture, we discussed in detail the basic concept of pipelining, the instruction stages involved in pipelining, and the key features of pipelining. We will discuss different types of hazards that are the structural hazards, data hazards, and control hazard. So we will discuss in detail each type of hazard, their influence, their involvement, their occurrence, and dealing with the hazards if they occur during pipelining process. So first we have structural hazard. Structural hazard occurs when there is an attempt to use the same resource for two different ways at the same time. It means that if we have a single memory port and its access for two different stages at same time, so a structural hazard it occurs during the pipelining process. So how it can be occurred? The single memory port its access for instruction fetch and data read in the same clock cycle. So it will cause a structural hazard. So in this figure, if we look at instruction 1 and instruction 4, then there is quite clear that the memory module for instruction 1, that is at cycle 4, and memory module for instruction 4 at the same cycle, both the instructions are using the same memory module at the same time. So there are two memory read operations in the 4th cycle. The load instruction, it accesses memory to read data, and the 4th instruction, which is fetch, it also uses the same memory during the same clock cycle. So that causes the structure hazard to occur when there is a single memory or when we are dealing with a single memory during our pipelining process. So how can we avoid the structural hazard during our pipelining process? There is a possibility to deal with the structural hazard by inserting a stall, which is a bubble to avoid memory structural hazard. So in the last lecture we discussed the limitation of pipelining. We also discussed the stall dependency, that are the limitation of pipelining. So in that lecture we were told that the stall dependency will be discussed in the next lecture. So due to stall or bubble implementation, bubble inserting, the pipelining stage, it may cause the delay in the completion of pipelining. But if we are dealing with a single memory port, the best method to deal with the structural hazard is to insert a bubble or install during our pipelining process. So in the 4th clock cycle, the memory module or the memory port will be used by the instruction 1, that is the load instruction, and during clock cycle 4, the instruction, that is instruction 4, it will not use the memory module at the same clock cycle. The memory module will be used afterwards. So structural hazard, it will exist when there is a single write port of register which is accessed for two write back operations in same clock cycle. It will not exist in 5-stage pipeline but it may exist in 4 and 5 stage multi-cycle pipeline. How this can be happen, we'll discuss. So for the load instruction, there are the 5 independent functional units in the pipelining data path, which are instruction memory for the instruction fetch stage. The second one is register files, that is for read ports of register or decoding stage. There is a ALU for the execution stage, the data memory for the memory stage, and register file, which is write port for the write back stage, that were discussed in the last lecture also, the 5 stages of a 5 stage instruction set. So we may notice that the register file is treated for read and write port for separate functional unit, because the register file, it allows to read and write at the same time. It also be noticed that as the first load finishes its instruction fetch stage, it no longer needs the instruction memory. Similarly, when the second load starts, it uses the instruction memory for the second instruction fetch. So each functional unit is only used once per instruction. So there will be no conflict in the pipeline for the execution of the instruction fetch memory and write back memory. So it will be shown that the interaction between instructions in the pipeline data path later on. But the main point is the performance, that are the advantages of pipelining. Also, if these 3 load instructions are to be executed by a multiple cycle processor, so it will take 15 cycles. But when pipelining is implemented, it only takes 7 cycles to complete the overall execution of the program. So if we look at this, we notice that one instruction enters the pipeline every cycle. So we'll have one instruction coming out of the pipeline every cycle. That it means that from the first clock cycle to the last clock cycle, there is entrance and leaving of each instruction during the pipeline stage. So the effective number of clock cycles per instruction is 1, though it takes a total of 5 cycles to complete each instruction. So for the 4th stage of R-type instruction, we have a look at the R-type instruction. The R-type instruction we discussed earlier does not access data memory, so it only takes 4 clock cycles to be completed. The instruction fetch and register decoding stages are identical to the load instructions, and they have to be same at this point. The R-type instruction will also use the ALU to operate on the register operands. For the execution of the instruction, the ALU will also be used for the R-type instruction, and the result for this instruction will be written back to the register file during the write back stage. So what will be happen if we try to pipeline the R-type instruction with the load instructions? We have also a problem during this instruction. So the problem is that there will be two instructions which will try to write to the register file at the same time. So how this hazard can be treated, or how to deal this hazard? So each function unit can be used once per instruction, and each functional unit must be used at the same stage for all the instructions. So we notice that the it load instruction, it uses register files during its fifth stage, and the R-type instruction, it uses the register file as a write port during its fourth stage. So in order to work perfectly for the pipeline, each function unit can only be used once per instruction. The condition to prevent pipeline hazard is each functional unit must be used at the same stage for all instructions. For example, if the load instruction uses the register file write port during fifth stage, but the R-type instruction also uses the register port during its fourth stage, we are using the multiple stages instruction, that is the 5 stage instruction and the 4 stage instruction at the same time. So by using this multiple stream of the instruction or multiple stages instruction, we have problem of using register file during write port stage. So that is the main problem that can occur in a hazard situation during our pipelining. So we have different solutions that can be used to deal the hazard situation during pipelining. The first solution is to insert a bubble into the pipeline soon after the load instruction, so that it can push every instruction after the load that are already in the pipeline by one cycle. By inserting a bubble into the pipeline, the instruction stages are pushes forward, and at the same time the bubble will delay the instruction fetch of the instruction that is about to enter the pipeline by one cycle. So in this way we can deal with this hazard type, but it may accomplish a complex control logic. It also be having a negative impact on the performance, because there will be a extra stage for the instructions, and also for this reason we will not have one instruction that will be finished for every clock cycle. So in the solution 2, there is also a possibility to insert a knob stage, that is no operation stage, to the R-type instruction pipeline. So it will delay the usage of register file by one cycle. Also the R-type instruction we'll use the register file write port at its fifth stage. So we will eliminate the write conflict with the load instruction. So this solution is a simpler solution than the previous one when the control logic is concerned and also the performance is concerned. So it also have one instruction completes per cycle. This kind of like promoting each individual R-type instruction will take 5 cycles instead of 4 cycles to finish. So this is the reason that the higher performance it what will be achieved when we have a more efficient pipeline. So the other thing that can be used as additional function units, but it will increase the cost. The memory structural hazard can be removed by using two cache memory units at the same time. One will be the instruction memory and the other will be the data memory. Also, two write ports in the register file will allow 4 and 5 stage pipeline to be completed at the same time. The second type of hazard is the data hazard. Data hazard occurs when there is attempt to use an item before it is ready. It means that if one sock of pair is in dryer and one is in washer, we cannot fold until we get the whole pair from washer through dryer. So the instruction depends on the result of the previous instruction during the pipeline stage. So due to this, data hazard occurs when there is a dependency of one instruction on the previous instruction. So the pipelining changes the relative timing of the instruction by overlapping their execution. This overlap introduces the data and control hazards. So the data hazard occurs when there is order of operand, that is the read and write, which is changed sequentially during the access. It also gives rise to the data dependency. So this is the example of data hazard. If we are explaining data hazard for the R1 register, in all the registers, in all the instructions, the R1 register is common. The add instruction is using register R1. The subtraction instruction it is also using register R1. The AND or and exclusive OR instructions they are also using register R1. So we may say that when the first instruction, that is the add instruction, is completed, the result of that instruction will be used for the second instruction, that is the subtraction instruction. Also the result of subtraction instruction that will be used by the AND logic for the AND instruction and so on. So data hazard it occurs when the next instruction is dependent on the result of the previous instruction. So we can explain the data hazard in the form of our clock cycles. The first instruction is add instruction when there is the fifth cycle that occurs, that is the result of first instruction is being calculated and is returned back to the register. The same result is used by the subtraction instruction in the next section. So we are noticing that the write back process for the first section is in fifth cycle, and the result of that register is being used in the third cycle of the second instruction. So that cannot be used, or that cannot be implemented, because this register will use the value of, or the result of instruction 1 in the earlier cycles for the instruction 2. So that will cause data hazards which will occur during the implementation or execution of the instructions. So what we'll have to do for the solution, the first solution is to insert 3 stall for the second instruction. After the completion of fifth cycle, when the result is stored in the fifth cycle during the write back stage, the register is stored with the result of first instruction. So this data as a result of first instruction will be used for the data of the second instruction in the next cycle. So at the 6 clock cycle, this data of register will be used for the second instruction, that is the subtraction instruction. So in this way we can deal with the data hazard by inserting stall in the clock cycles. So we are noticing that the inserting of stall or bubbles that are increasing the clock cycle time to complete the overall execution of the program. So it's showing that the pipelining is limited. The limitation of pipelining is also the stall dependency, which we discussed in this last lecture. So the other type, or the other solution that can be used to handle or to deal with the data hazard, let's suppose for an exclusive OR instruction, it's also using the register data for the execution of the exclusive OR instruction. In the implementation of exclusive OR instruction, we are noticing that there will be no data hazard, because the register is being used right after the write back or the fifth cycle of our instruction. So if R1, if the result of add instruction, that is the register data, is being used for the exclusive OR instruction, so it will use the data of register smoothly to execute the XOR instruction. The other solution for the data hazard is the forwarding. Forward result from one stage to another stage, that is from the execution of memory during the pipelining register to the subtraction instruction, that is utilizing ALU stage. So by forwarding this stage, we can deal, or we can handle the data hazard problem or data hazard occurrence. The other type that can be used if we are not using forwarding, so we may divide our register stage or our register into two halves. The first half is for the register file will be used for the write process, and the second half for the register will be used for the read process. So if we are using register file in a same clock cycle, then this register file can be divided into two halves. The first half will be for write stage or for write purpose. The second half will be for read stage or for the read cycle, read purpose. So in this way, data hazard can also be problem of data hazard can also be solved. Okay, the third type of hazard is the control hazard. It occurs when there is attempt to take action before the condition is evaluated. It means that the control hazard occurs during the branch or the jump instructions. When the branch instructions are executed, so it may or may not change the PC value to the other value, or PC value is not changed for the next values. So if branch is taken, then it changes the PC to the new target. It means that when there is a branch instruction, we have to jump to a particular or a specific location. That location will be pointed out by the PC. So if branch is taken, then PC, the value of PC is altered. If branch is not taken, it does not change the PC value. So the problem that occurs during the pipeline in the form of control hazard is that when branch instruction is executed, it may or may not change the PC, the value of PC. So the simple way to deal with the branch is to freeze the pipeline, that is by holding any instruction after the branch instruction, and to flush the pipeline, that is to delete the instruction after the branch if condition is evaluated. So if the branch instruction is taken, we are using BEQ instruction, that is branch if equivalent. This instruction will be executed if there is a matching or equivalency check for the data. If the data is equal, then there will be branch instruction. If the data is not equal, the branch will not be taken. So BEQ branch if equal will be executed when the condition is satisfied. So the instruction during the instruction fetch process, at the beginning of instruction fetch stage, this condition will be checked. So for the instruction 2, that is branch equivalent instruction, during the ALU stage or during the execution stage, this condition is evaluated at the end of execution stage. So if branch condition is taken, then the next address is determined after the evaluating the branch instruction or the branch condition. But we notice that the next instruction is load instruction and its fetch stage is before the execution of branch instruction. So PC have to change its value for the new target value. That it simply means that when the branch is taken, the instruction after the execution of the instruction, the address will be followed or it will come to its original address when the branch or the jump instruction is being executed. So the value of that target will be fetched during the instruction fetch stage. So this conflict occurs when there is a branch instruction and also give rise to control hazard. There are different types which can avoid the branch or this type of hazard. The first one is stall the redo fetch after branch, delay branching, branch prediction, multiple streams. These are the five different ways which can deal or which can handle this type of. So by inserting stall for the third instruction, the instruction fetch process will start after the execution of the branch instruction. That is, the execution of branch instruction is during the third clock cycle, and the instruction fetch stage of the third instruction will be started from the fourth clock cycle. So in this way, this is the first solution to handle the type of hazard. The second solution is the redo fetch after branch. So it means that when the execution of branch instruction is being done, there is another instruction fetch stage for the next instruction. So if the instruction is fetched before the execution of branch instruction, the instruction fetch stage will be implemented, that is, it will be re-implemented or re-fetched after the completion of the execution stage for the branch instruction. So there will be two instruction fetch stages for this instruction, but the problem is that if branch is not taken, so the second fetch will be not essential for dealing the branch hazard. The third solution is the delayed branching. It is the redefining of the branch behavior to take place after the next instruction, which can be introduced for the other instruction. It may be a no operation. A no operation instruction, it is always executed as a idle instruction. That is, there will be no process, no operation during the NOP instruction. So that can also be used to overcome the issue of the multiple streams is the other solution for dealing the branch hazard. If we have two pipelines, so there will be a prefetch for a separate pipeline. So there will be used for an apparent pipeline. The result of the usage of multiple stream is multiple branches will lead to further pipelines that are being used. The fifth solution that is used by IBM 360 type processor is a prefetch branch target. The target of the branch is prefetched in addition to the instructions that are following the branch instruction. So the target is kept until the branch is being executed. So in this way, we can use multiple solutions to deal with the branch hazard. So the summary of our lecture, that we've discussed different types of hazards during the pipelining process. The structure hazard, it occurs when same resources are accessed by more than one instructions. One memory port or one register write port, if we have a single memory or write port, it can cause structural hazard. It can be removed by using multiple resources or inserting stall. So we have discussed in detail that stall, it degrades the performance of pipeline. but we have to solve the problem during our pipelining process. By solving these problems that occurs during pipeline, it may affect the overall performance of pipelining. But still, we prefer pipeline on sequential method because of the overall better performance of pipeline on the sequential executing or sequential execution of the instructions. The second one is data hazard. It occurs when attempt is made to read an invalid data. Data hazard can be removed by using stall and forwarding techniques. The third one is control hazards. It occurs when an attempt is made to branch or to jump prior to the evaluation of condition. Different methods are discussed for the dealing of control hazards. So in this lecture we have discussed types of hazards, their involvement, occurrence in the pipelining process. We have also discussed how pipelining can be affected by these hazards and how these hazards can be controlled by using multiple solutions. So we have discussed different solutions for structural hazards, data hazards, and control hazards. So this was the discussion for our today's topic. Thank you for your participation.